Hey, how's it going? In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the Lydian Sharp 2 scale. So, as you heard in that example, the Lydian Sharp 2 has a cool, exotic, kind of mysterious kind of sound. It's really, really nice and a very underrated scale. We're going to be learning how to play the scale. I'm going to show you the chords that are within this scale, and I'm also going to show you a few cool arpeggios that you can use to really get the most out of this scale. So let's start off with learning how to play this scale. So the scale is constructed with a root, an augmented second, third, a sharp fourth, a fifth, a sixth, and a seventh. So you can see it in two ways. It's just like a Lydian scale, but if you know your Lydian scale, then you can play the second note of your Lydian scale a fret higher. That's one way of seeing it. Or you can see it as the sixth mode of harmonic minor. So if you know your harmonic minor scale, if you start from the sixth note, then you get this scale. So let's look at how to actually play the scale. So we're going to play in the key of A today. So we're going to start on the fifth fret of the low E string, and then we're going to go 5, 8, 9. Then we're going to go to the A string and play 6, 7, 9. Then when we move to the D string, we are going to be playing 6, 7, 10. Then we have 6, 8, 9 on the G string, 7, 9, 10 on the B string, and we're going to finally play 8, 9 and 11 on the high E string. Really cool sounding scale. So let's take a look at the chords that are within this scale. We've got an A major chord. If we turn that into a seventh chord, we get an A major 7 chord. The second chord would be a C diminished chord. Then we're going to play a C diminished 7 chord. Like that. Then the third chord is a C sharp minor chord. Now if we were to turn this into a 7th chord, we get a minor major 7 chord. Then we move on to D sharp. So this D sharp is a diminished chord. D sharp diminished. If we turn that into a 7th chord, we get a D sharp minor 7 flat 5. The next chord, our 5th chord in our key, is a E augmented chord. And if we were to turn that into a 7th chord, we get an E major 7 sharp 5. The 6th chord in our Lydian Sharp 2 scale is an F sharp minor chord. And that becomes an F sharp minor 7. And then the last chord is a G sharp major. And when we turn that into a 7th chord, we get a G sharp 7, dominant 7 chord. Alright, so you can use those chords to create chord progressions. If I was you, I'd stay on that A major or that A major 7 for as much time as possible to really emphasize the fact that you're playing in this key. With modes in general, you generally want to stick on the one chord for a longer period of time because it's easier to make it sound like you're in a different mode if you're not doing that. I like to switch between chord 7 and chord 2. It's just the easiest way of keeping the modal sound. Now, let's talk about some arpeggios we can use when we're playing this scale. So first of all, we can use the A major 7 arpeggio. I'll show you the one that I used in the example. So this is a really good one if you're wanting to sweep pick. So 12 on the A string, 16 on the A string, 14 on the D string, 13 on the G string, 14 on the B string, 12 on the E string, 16 on the E string, and then you can maybe even go up to the 17th fret to our root note on the E string and come back down again. That's an option, but apart from your major 7 arpeggio, you've got some augmented and diminished arpeggios that sound really cool over this particular mode. Starting on the 2nd degree of our scale, so our C, then you can go up to the 11th fret of the E string as well, and this is a diminished arpeggio we're doing. So we're just going to play 8, 11, play the same thing on the next string but a fret higher, so 9 and 12. Same thing again, a fret higher on the next string, 10 and 13. Then same thing again on the G string, 11 and 14. Now here we're going to switch it up a little bit, play 13 on the B string, and then play 11 and 14 on the high E string. Now, the really cool thing about this arpeggio is if you move it back 3 frets, then it's the same arpeggio, just at a different starting point. And the same thing again, if you move it forward by 3 frets or a minor third, then it's the same arpeggio, just with a different starting point. And you can just keep moving this back in minor thirds and it'll be the same arpeggio. So I could play this starting at the 5th fret, I could play it starting at the 2nd fret, I could play it starting at the 11th fret, the 14th fret, the 17th fret, the 20th fret. That's the really cool thing about diminished arpeggios. You can just move them up and down and it's still the same arpeggio. Now, the same thing applies with augmented chords as well, except we're going to be moving up major third, so the distance of 4 frets. Let's show you how you can do the augmented arpeggio with this scale. So you can do an augmented arpeggio starting on the 2nd degree of the scale as well. So that's going to be the 8th fret of the low E string, then the 7th fret of the A string, the 6th fret of the D string, the 5th fret of the G string, the 5th fret of the B string, and the 4th fret of the high E string. And remember, you can move this up 4 frets now, so you can move this up to the 12th fret. And it's all within the scale. 16th fret. I could even move it down to the 4th fret. That's one of the greatest things about these augmented and diminished arpeggios. You can just move them around all over the place. See if you can experiment with those arpeggios, the augmented, the diminished, and the major 7 arpeggios. See if you can mix them up and create different solos, along with just noodling with the scale itself. I find it's a good way to end your licks is to finish on a chord tone of your A major 7 chord. The ones that I find particularly work are the 5th and the 7th. They sound particularly nice to end your licks on. There's the 7th, or the 5th. That video was all about the Lydian sharp 2 scale. It's a great scale, very underrated as I said before. So try using it in your compositions. It's really good for writing riffs. If you're a metal player or a rock player, you can create some really cool riffs just using the notes in this scale. If you enjoyed this video, please click like. Let me know what you thought in the comments. If you have any other video suggestions, let me know in the comments too. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, because there's going to be more videos just like this for you coming up very, very, very soon. So I'll see you in the next one.